Dr. Tahoe Kim wiped sweat from his forehead as he walked through the dense forest of Helios 9. The three suns beat down through the purple leaves, making the air hot and sticky. He was collecting plant samples for his research when a strange sound stopped him in his tracks. A low, rumbling growl came from behind a fallen tree trunk. Tahoe froze. This far from the research station, dangerous creatures were common. He should run. He should call for help. Instead, his curiosity won. "Hello," he called softly, inching closer. The growl turned into a painful whine. Tahoe peered over the log and gasped. Lying in a pool of dark blue blood was a war tiger, one of the most feared creatures in the galaxy. War tigers were not natural animals. They were made in labs by mixing alien tiger DNA with advanced technology. The military used them as living weapons during the galactic conflict 5 years ago. Everyone thought they had all been destroyed when the war ended. This one was huge, almost as long as Tahoe was tall. Its fur was midnight black, with glowing blue stripes that pulsed weakly. Metal implants were visible along its spine and at the base of its skull. One of its legs was badly wounded, and blood leaked from cuts all over its body. "You poor thing," Tahoe whispered, forgetting his fear. The war tiger's eyes opened, bright yellow with vertical pupils. It tried to growl again, but could only manage a weak sound. Its claws dug into the dirt as it tried to move away from him. Tahoe knew what he should do. The rules were clear. Report any war tiger sightings immediately. The military would come and kill it. War tigers were classified as weapons, not living beings with rights. He looked at his comm device, then back at the suffering creature. In its eyes, he saw something unexpected: intelligence and fear, not the mindless killing machine described in military reports. "I'm not going to hurt you," Tahoe said softly. The tiger's ears twitched at his voice. A decision formed in Tahoe's mind, one that could cost him his job or worse. He couldn't let this creature die, no matter what it was designed for. He opened his pack and pulled out his emergency medical kit. The tiger watched him carefully as he prepared a pain-killing injection, strong enough to help, but not enough to knock out a creature this size. "This will help with the pain," he explained, moving slowly. The tiger growled but didn't attack as Tahoe carefully injected the medicine into its shoulder. After a few minutes, the tiger's breathing became more regular. It stopped trying to move away from him. "I need to get you somewhere safe," Tahoe said. "My lab is the only place I can treat these wounds properly." Getting a 300-pound alien predator back to his lab wouldn't be easy. Tahoe called his research rover to their location. While waiting, he examined the tiger more closely. The implants in its body were military-grade technology, designed to enhance strength and aggression. But several were damaged, likely causing the tiger great pain. When the rover arrived, Tahoe used the vehicle's loading lift and all his strength to move the tiger onto the back platform. He covered it with a tarp. "I'm going to call you Hyun," he told the tiger as he climbed into the driver's seat. "It means wise in my language. There's wisdom in your eyes that no one bothered to look for." As the rover sped back toward the research station, Tahoe knew he was breaking at least a dozen rules. If anyone discovered what he was doing, he would lose everything: his job, maybe even his freedom. On his comm device, a message flashed from his wife, "Ninji, how's your day going? Kids miss you. Call us tonight." Tahoe smiled sadly. His family was back at the main colony, 200 miles away. They had no idea their lives were about to change forever because of the choice he was making today. The war tiger, Hyun, made a soft rumbling sound as the rover bounced over rough terrain. Somehow, Tahoe knew he was making the right choice. Tahoe's lab was at the far end of the research station, away from the main buildings. This was lucky. He backed the rover into his private loading dock and closed the door quickly. No one had seen him bring Hyun inside. "This is going to be your home for a while," Tahoe said to the war tiger as he carefully moved it onto his exam table. The creature was heavy, and Tahoe had to use all his strength. Hyun's yellow eyes followed Taho as he gathered medical supplies. The war tiger was still too weak to move much, but its breathing was steady. The pain medicine was working. Taho cleaned the wounds first. Most were from energy weapons, the kind poachers used. As he worked, he talked to Hyun in a soft voice. Someone tried to capture you, didn't they? War tiger parts sell for a lot on the black market. Hyun made a low rumbling sound, almost like agreement. For 3 days, Taho barely slept. He treated the wounds, gave medicine for pain and infection, and studied the damaged implants along Hyun's spine. These metal and computer parts were causing Hyun constant pain. These were made to control you, Taho said, as he carefully removed a broken implant from the base of Hyun's skull, to make you fight and kill. But they're hurting you now. Each night, Taho made video calls to his family. His wife Minji appeared on screen with their 2 children, Jun and Yoonji. You look tired, Minji said on the 3rd night. Are you sleeping? Special project, Taho answered with a smile. Nothing to worry about. 9-year-old Jun pushed his face close to the camera. Dad, I got top marks in science class. That's wonderful, Taho said, following in your father's footsteps. Little Yoonji, only 6, showed him a drawing of their family. I miss you, Daddy. I miss you all too, Taho said. His heart felt heavy. He couldn't tell them about Hyun. Not yet. It was too dangerous. After the call, Taho returned to the lab. Hyun was awake, watching him. That was my family, Taho explained. He showed Hyun the picture Yoonji had drawn. My wife and children live at the main colony. To his surprise, Hyun leaned forward to look at the picture. The war tiger made a soft sound and gently touched the screen with one massive paw. Days turned into weeks. Hyun grew stronger. Taho removed most of the damaged implants, but left the ones that were working properly. These helped Hyun move and heal faster. One morning, Taho arrived at the lab to find Hyun standing on all 4 legs. The war tiger was huge, nearly reaching Taho's chest. Its blue stripes glowed brightly, pulsing with energy. Look at you, Taho said with a smile. Almost good as new. Hyun walked slowly around the lab, sniffing at equipment. When he reached Taho, the war tiger lowered its head. Slowly, carefully, Taho reached out and touched the soft fur between Hyun's ears. Military reports said war tigers can't feel emotion. Taho said quietly, that you were just weapons. They were wrong. Hyun made a deep purring sound. Then he did something that made Taho gasp. The war tiger bowed its head and pressed it against Taho's chest in a gesture that could only be described as affection. Later that day, Taho studied blood samples from Hyun. The results were amazing. War tigers were much more than weapons. They had been designed with high intelligence, perhaps even the ability to form emotional bonds. Why would they create something so smart just to make it fight? Taho wondered aloud. His thoughts were interrupted by his lab door sliding open. His colleague Dong-hyun stood in the doorway, eyes wide with shock as he stared at Hyun. Taho, Dong-hyun whispered, what have you done? Dong-hyun's face turned pale as he stared at Hyun. His hand moved slowly toward the alarm button near the door. Please don't, Taho said quickly. He stepped between his colleague and the war tiger. Let me explain. Explain? Dong-hyun's voice shook. That's a Class A biological weapon in your lab. Do you know what the penalty is for hiding one? 20 years in prison, Taho. Hyun sensed the tension and growled softly. The blue stripes along its body glowed brighter. He was dying when I found him, Taho said. I couldn't just let him suffer. It's not a him, Dong-hyun said. It's a weapon. A killing machine made for war. Hyun moved forward slowly. Dong-hyun pressed himself against the wall, eyes wide with fear. But instead of attacking, Hyun picked up a data pad in his mouth and brought it to Taho. Dong-hyun's mouth fell open. Did it just help me? Taho took the pad. Yes, Hyun has been doing that a lot. He understands things, Dong-yun. He's intelligent. That's impossible. The military lied about the war tigers, Tahoe said. They're not mindless weapons. They can think. They can feel. To prove his point, Tahoe showed Dong-yun the test results on his datapad. Look at the brain activity. It's complex, like ours. Dong-yun read the data with growing amazement. His fear began to fade as scientific curiosity took over. If this is true, he said slowly, then destroying them after the war was murder. Tahoe finished. Yes. Hyun watched them both carefully. When Dong-yun finally reached out a shaking hand, the war tiger allowed him to touch its head. I need time to process this, Dong-yun said at last. 3 days. I'll give you 3 days before I decide what to do. After Dong-yun left, Tahoe sat down heavily. They were in danger now. It was only a matter of time before someone else discovered Hyun. That night, as Tahoe worked in his lab, an alarm sounded across the research station. A voice came over the speakers. Attention all personnel. Military patrols have been increased in this sector due to reports of poacher activity. All staff are reminded to report any unusual sightings immediately. Tahoe looked at Hyun. They're looking for you or others like you. The next day, Dong-yun returned to the lab. His face was serious but calm. I checked the military patrol schedules, he said. They're searching the forests. If they come here for a routine inspection, they'll find Hyun, Tahoe said. You need to make a decision, Dong-yun told him. Either report him now and hope they show mercy, or what? The supply ship leaves for the main colony tomorrow. I could help you get him on board. Tahoe was shocked. You'd help us? Dong-yun nodded. What you showed me changes everything we thought we knew about war tigers. This is bigger than rules and regulations. That night, Tahoe made his decision. He couldn't release Hyun into the wild where hunters would find him, and he couldn't stay at the research station with military patrols increasing. He made one last call to his family. I'm coming home early, he told Minji. And I'm bringing a friend. A friend. Minji looked confused. From the station. I'll explain everything when I get there, Tahoe promised. The next morning, before sunrise, Tahoe and Dong-yun loaded a large shipping container onto the supply ship. Inside, hidden among research equipment, Hyun lay quietly. The war tiger seemed to understand the need for silence. Thank you, Tahoe whispered to Dong-yun as they said goodbye. Just be careful, Dong-yun replied. Both of you. As the ship lifted off, Tahoe felt a mix of fear and hope. He was risking everything, his career, his freedom. But looking at Hyun, he knew some things were worth the risk. 10 years passed quickly. The small house at the edge of New Seoul Colony was quiet in the early morning light. Tahoe Kim sat on his back porch, sipping hot tea and looking at the dense forest behind his home. Another beautiful day, he said to the seemingly empty woods. 2 glowing blue stripes appeared between the trees. Then more became visible as Hyun stepped into the clearing. The war tiger was now fully grown, over 400 pounds of muscle and advanced technology. His midnight black fur shone in the morning sun, and his blue stripes pulsed with energy. Good morning, old friend, Tahoe said with a smile. Hyun moved silently across the yard and sat beside Tahoe. The war tiger was now taller than Tahoe when sitting. He made a soft, rumbling sound of greeting. Dad, is Hyun here? 19-year-old June called from inside the house. He rushed onto the porch, still in his sleek clothes. I need to show him something. June had grown into a tall young man. Like his father, he loved science and was studying at the university. He held up a small device. I made this for you, he told Hyun proudly. It's a new cooling system for your back implants. Should make you more comfortable during hot weather. Hyun lowered his massive head so June could attach the device to one of his remaining implants. The war tiger made a pleased sound when it activated. He likes it, Tahoe said, smiling at his son. Inside the house, Minji was making breakfast. She had accepted Hyun into their family years ago, after her initial shock and fear had passed. Now she treated the war tiger like an unusual but beloved pet. "Tell that big cat to stay out of my garden today," she called from the kitchen window. "He crushed my tomato plants yesterday." Hyun's ears drooped slightly, looking guilty. 16-year-old Yoonji came outside, carrying her school bag. She reached up to scratch behind Hyun's ears, his favorite spot. "See you after school, big guy," she said. Then she looked at her father. "Don't forget, I have my music performance tonight." "We'll all be there," Taeho promised. After his family left for the day, Taeho walked with Hyun into the forest. This had become their morning routine. Hyun needed to move and hunt, and Taeho enjoyed the exercise. 10 years, Taeho said as they walked. "Sometimes I can't believe we made it this far." Life had not been easy at first. When they arrived at the main colony all those years ago, Taeho had to hide Hyun in the wilderness while he found a place for them to live. He left his research position and took a teaching job at the university instead. It was safer, less attention. Eventually, they found this house at the edge of the settlement. It was perfect, close enough to the colony for Taeho's family, but with direct access to the forest for Hyun. No one in New Seoul knew their secret, except for one trusted doctor who helped when Hyun was injured. To everyone else, the occasional glimpses of a large animal near the Kim property were just rumors, nothing more. "Professor Kim," a voice called. Taeho turned to see one of his students approaching on the forest path. Hyun was already gone, vanished silently into the trees. "Jin, what brings you out here?" Taeho asked calmly. "I wanted to ask about the assignment," Jin said. Then he looked around nervously. "People say there's a strange creature living in these woods. Have you ever seen it?" Taeho smiled. "Just rumors, I'm sure. The forest is full of ordinary wildlife." Jin nodded, but looked unconvinced. "My brother works in colony security. He says they've received reports of something big with glowing blue markings. People see all sorts of things in the shadows," Taeho said lightly. As they walked back toward town, Taeho felt a familiar unease. Over the years, there had been close calls, but they had always managed to keep Hyun's existence secret. He wondered how much longer their luck would hold. Something was wrong. Taeho felt it as he walked home from the university. The streets of New Seoul seemed normal, but there was a tension in the air. Colony security vehicles moved through the streets more often than usual. At the university that morning, 2 students had not shown up for class. When Taeho asked about them, another student said their family had disappeared overnight. No warning, no message. Taeho quickened his pace. When he reached his street, he noticed a small mark on his fence post. 3 scratches, Hyun's warning sign. They had created this system years ago. If Hyun sensed danger, he would leave these marks. Inside the house, Minji was cooking dinner. She looked worried. "Have you heard?" she asked. "The Park family is gone, just like the Lees last week." "What is colony security saying?" Taeho asked. "Nothing helpful," Minji said. "They claim the families relocated suddenly, but nobody believes that." June came downstairs with a worried look. "Dad, I saw something strange on my way home. Men in plain clothes watching our house." Taeho felt a cold fear in his stomach. "Where's Yoonji?" "At her friend's house," Minji said. "She'll be home soon." Taeho went to the window and looked out carefully. Across the street, a man sat in a parked vehicle. He seemed to be watching their house. After dinner, Taeho went to the edge of the forest behind their home. He made a soft clicking sound, their signal. A moment later, Hyun appeared, moving silently between the trees. "Something's happening," Taeho said quietly. "Have you noticed anything unusual?" Hyun made a low growl and nodded his massive head. He led Taeho deeper into the forest, to a small clearing. There, hidden under leaves, was a small metal device. "A scanner," Taeho said, examining it without touching it. Military grade. Someone is looking for technology signatures. Hyun's implants would give off such signatures. The war tiger's blue stripes glowed dimly with concern. Back at the house, Taeho searched through old files on his datapad. News from other colonies, reports of missing people. A pattern was forming. All the missing families had connections to military research during the galactic conflict. It can't be a coincidence, he told Minji that night after the children were asleep. Someone is targeting former military scientists. But you were just a researcher, Minji said. You never worked on weapons. No, but I know about war tigers, Taeho said. That knowledge is valuable to the wrong people. The next morning, Taeho found more scanner devices around their property. Hyun had discovered them during his night patrol and led Taeho to each one. At the university, Taeho searched for information on his office computer. He found a name that appeared in reports from other colonies where people had gone missing. Black Talon, a mercenary group known for capturing people with valuable knowledge and selling them to the highest bidder. On his way home, Taeho stopped at a public communication terminal and called his old colleague Dong-Yun, who now worked at Central Colony. I need information on a group called Black Talon, Taeho said. Dong-Yun's face grew serious on the screen. Why are you asking about them? I think they might be here, in New Seoul. Listen carefully, Dong-Yun said, his voice low. Black Talon is run by a former military commander named Sunwoo. He specializes in capturing scientists who worked on classified projects. And Taeho, he has a special interest in the War Tiger program. How could he know about me? Taeho asked. Someone talked. Someone from the old research station, Dong-Yun said. Be careful, my friend. If Black Talon is there, you and your family are in danger. When Taeho finally reached home, he found Hyun waiting at the edge of the forest. The war tiger was agitated, pacing back and forth. His blue stripes pulsed brightly with alarm. What is it? Taeho asked. Hyun led him to a spot where the ground had been disturbed. Fresh footprints circled their house. Too many for just one person. They were being watched, and time was running out. Taeho could not focus on his lecture. His students noticed something was wrong as he kept looking at the clock. As soon as the class ended, he rushed out of the university building. He tried to call home, but all communication lines in the colony were down. This was not normal. Something was happening. Professor Kim, a voice called out. Taeho turned to see the university security chief running toward him. The colony defense system just went offline. We're trying to contact Central Colony for help. How long will communications be down? Taeho asked. Hours, maybe longer, the security chief said. Everyone is told to stay where they are, but I know your family is home. Taeho didn't wait to hear more. He ran toward his house, fear giving him speed. The streets were strangely empty. In the distance, he heard the sound of engines. When he reached his street, he slowed down. Something was wrong. The neighbors' doors were open, but no one was outside. Silent homes, empty yards. Taeho moved carefully toward his house. The front door was open. Inside, chairs were knocked over. A pot of food was still on the stove, now burned black. Minji, he called. Jun, Yunji. No answer. On the kitchen table was a small device. When Taeho approached, it lit up. A face appeared on the screen. A man with a scar across his jaw and cold eyes. Dr. Kim, the man said. My name is Commander Sunwoo. By now you've noticed your family is gone. Taeho's hands shook with fear and anger. Where are they? Safe for now, Sunwoo said. They will remain that way if you cooperate. I need your research on war tigers. I don't have any research, Taeho said. That was 10 years ago. Don't lie to me, Doctor. Sunwoo's voice hardened. We know you took a war tiger from Helios 9. We know you've kept it all these years. The only question is where. Taeho tried to keep his face calm. Who told you that? Your old friend Dong-Yun was very helpful. After enough pressure, Sunwoo smiled coldly. He held out longer than most. Poor Dongyan. Tahoe felt sick. The war tiger died years ago. Tahoe lied. The wounds were too severe. I don't believe you, Sunwoo said. But it doesn't matter. Even if the creature is dead, your knowledge is valuable. My clients are working on a new generation of biological weapons. Your research would be worth millions. The screen showed a new image. Minji, Jun, and Yoonji tied up in what looked like an old building. They were alive but clearly scared. Dad, Yoonji cried. Don't. The image cut off. Come to the old mining facility at the north edge of the colony, Sunwoo said. Come alone. Bring all your research. You have 2 hours. The screen went dark. Tahoe stood still for a long moment. Then he walked quickly to the back door and into the forest. Hyun, he called, no longer caring who might hear. Hyun. A shadow moved between the trees. Hyun appeared, his yellow eyes glowing with intensity. The war tiger already knew something was wrong. He had been patrolling the forest when the attack happened, too far away to help. They took them, Tahoe said, his voice breaking. Black Talon has my family. Hyun growled, a deep sound of anger. His blue stripes glowed brightly, pulsing with energy. They want you, Tahoe said. They know about you, and they have my family at the old mining facility. The war tiger's eyes narrowed. He seemed to be thinking, planning. Then he moved toward the house, indicating Tahoe should follow. Inside, Hyun led Tahoe to the basement. There, hidden behind some boxes, was a small hole the war tiger had dug years ago. Inside were shiny objects Hyun had collected, including a small military tracking device Tahoe had removed from his implants. You kept this? Tahoe was surprised. He picked up the device. We can use it to find a way into the facility without being seen. Hyun made a determined sound. His entire body radiated a deadly focus. The war tiger who had lived peacefully for 10 years was gone. In his place stood a hunter, ready for war. They think you're the target, Tahoe said, placing his hand on Hyun's massive head. But they've made a terrible mistake. They've threatened your family. Night fell over New Seoul Colony. The old mining facility stood dark against the sky, its metal towers reaching upward like fingers. Around it, armed guards patrolled the fence line. They carried heavy weapons and moved with military precision. In the forest half a mile away, Tahoe and Hyun watched the facility. They had moved carefully through the woods, staying hidden from the Black Talon mercenaries who searched the area. There are too many of them, Tahoe whispered. He counted at least 20 guards outside the building. And my family is somewhere inside. Hyun's yellow eyes narrowed as he studied the facility. The war tiger had been designed for exactly this kind of mission: infiltration and combat. His implants gathered data about the guards, their weapons, and patrol patterns. We need a plan, Tahoe said. He looked at the tracking device they had brought. This might help us find a way inside without being spotted. Hyun made a soft rumbling sound and moved deeper into the forest. Tahoe followed. The war tiger led him to a small hill overlooking the east side of the facility. From here, they could see a maintenance door with only one guard. That could work. Tahoe nodded. But we still need to deal with the guard. Hyun's ears flattened against his head. The message was clear. He would handle the guard. But Tahoe shook his head. No killing unless absolutely necessary, he said firmly. These men are just doing a job. They don't know what Sunwoo really wants. Hyun seemed to understand. He made a soft sound of agreement. I'll create a distraction, Tahoe said. When the guard leaves his post, you find a way inside. Then I'll follow. Tahoe moved through the trees until he was at the edge of the forest. He picked up a stone and threw it hard against a metal storage container near the facility. The loud clang echoed in the night. The guard at the maintenance door raised his weapon. Base, this is point 3. I heard something near the east storage units. A voice crackled over his radio. Check it out. Report back in 5. The guard moved cautiously toward the noise, just as Tahoe had hoped. As soon as the man was out of sight, Hyun moved. The war tiger crossed the open ground in seconds, a black shadow against the darker night. With powerful but gentle claws, he quickly opened the maintenance door and slipped inside. Tahoe waited until Hyun's blue stripes flashed once from inside, the signal that it was clear. Then he ran across the open ground and through the door. Inside was a dim hallway lined with pipes. "Good work," Tahoe whispered. Hyun's stripes glowed dimly, providing just enough light to see. They moved silently through the facility. Twice they had to hide as guards walked past. Hyun's enhanced hearing gave them warning each time. The war tiger moved with surprising silence for such a large creature. In a small control room, Tahoe found a computer terminal. "Let me see if I can find where they're keeping my family." While Tahoe worked, Hyun stood guard at the door. Suddenly, the war tiger's ears perked up. He made a low warning sound. "Someone coming," Tahoe whispered. Hyun nodded. 2 guards were approaching. There was nowhere to hide in the small room. "We have to take them down," Tahoe said reluctantly, quietly. When the first guard entered the room, Hyun was waiting above the door, his powerful body balanced on a pipe running along the ceiling. Before the man could shout, the war tiger dropped down. One large paw covered the guard's mouth while another precise strike knocked him unconscious. The second guard had no time to react before Hyun was on him, taking him down just as quickly and quietly. "Find something to tie them up," Tahoe said as he turned back to the computer. Finally, he found what he was looking for. They're in the main storage area, 2 levels down. A map on the screen showed the route. It would take them past more guards and through secured areas. "This won't be easy," Tahoe said. Hyun's yellow eyes glowed with determination. The war tiger's blue stripes pulsed with energy as his combat systems fully activated. He was entering hunting mode. The guard's radio crackled. "Team 3, report status." There was no answer, of course. The alarm would sound soon. "We're out of time," Tahoe said. "Let's go get my family." Alarms blared throughout the mining facility. Red lights flashed in the hallways as Tahoe and Hyun moved quickly toward the lower levels. "They know we're here," Tahoe said as they ran. "We need to hurry." They reached a heavy metal door blocking their path. Through the small window, Tahoe could see 4 armed guards on the other side. "We need a distraction," he said. Hyun looked around and saw a control panel on the wall. With one powerful swipe, he tore it open. Sparks flew as the war tiger carefully disconnected specific wires. The lights in the hallway beyond the door went dark. "Smart thinking," Tahoe whispered. When the confused guards opened the door to check the power, Hyun was waiting. The war tiger moved like lightning, disabling all 4 men before they could fire a single shot. His movements were precise and controlled, designed to knock them unconscious without causing serious harm. "You've been practicing," Tahoe said, impressed. They continued downward, facing more resistance with each level. Hyun cleared the path, his combat training and enhanced reflexes making him nearly unstoppable. The blue stripes along his body glowed brightly, lighting their way through the dark corridors. Finally, they reached the main storage area. Through the reinforced door, Tahoe could hear voices. His family was inside, along with Commander Sunwoo and several guards. "How do we get in?" Tahoe wondered aloud. Hyun studied the door, then pointed to a large ventilation shaft above them. It was too small for the war tiger, but Tahoe could fit. "You want me to go through there while you make a distraction at the main door?" Hyun nodded. "It's too dangerous for you," Tahoe protested. "They're waiting for you. They might have special weapons." The war tiger made a soft sound and touched his head to Tahoe's chest, just as he had done 10 years ago when they first bonded. The message was clear. "Trust me." "Be careful," Tahoe said. While Tahoe climbed into the ventilation shaft, Hyun moved back down the hallway. Seconds later, loud crashes and shouts came from the far end of the corridor. The war tiger was creating chaos, drawing attention away from the main storage area. Tahoe crawled through the dusty shaft until he was above the storage room. Through the grate, he could see his family tied to chairs in the center of the room. Commander Sunwoo paced in front of them, speaking into a communication device. "I don't care what it takes," Sunwoo was saying. "Find that creature and bring it to me alive." 2 guards remained in the room, weapons ready. Tahoe waited until they moved toward the door, drawn by the sounds of fighting outside. Then he pushed open the grate and dropped silently to the floor. "Dad," Yunji whispered when she saw him. Tahoe quickly untied his family. "Are you all right?" "We're fine," Minji said, "but they have men everywhere." "It's Hyun with you?" Jun asked. Before Tahoe could answer, the main door burst open. Commander Sunwoo spun around, his face twisted with anger when he saw the family free. "Stop right there," he said, pointing a weapon at them. "Let my family go," Tahoe said. "It's me you want." "No," Sunwoo replied. "It's not just you. It's the war tiger. Do you know how much someone would pay for a living specimen? For the genetic material alone." At that moment, the lights went out completely. The room plunged into darkness, except for the dim emergency lights near the floor. "Everyone stay calm," Sunwoo shouted. "Backup power will." He never finished. A pair of glowing yellow eyes appeared behind him, followed by pulsing blue stripes that illuminated Hyun's powerful form. The war tiger had entered through another way. "Magnificent," Sunwoo whispered, staring at Hyun. More guards rushed into the room, carrying specialized weapons with glowing blue tips. "Tiger killers," Sunwoo explained with a smile. "Designed specifically to take down your kind during the war." Hyun growled, a deep sound that made the room vibrate. He positioned himself between the Kim family and the weapons. "Last chance," Sunwoo said to Tahoe. "Surrender, and I'll let your family live. The tiger comes with me." Tahoe looked at Hyun, then at his family. The war tiger's eyes met his, and a silent understanding passed between them. "Now," Tahoe shouted. Chaos erupted in the storage room. As Tahoe shouted, Hyun leaped into action. The war tiger moved faster than human eyes could follow, a blur of midnight black fur and glowing blue stripes. He knocked 2 guards aside before they could fire their weapons. Tahoe pushed his family toward the side of the room. "Stay down." Commander Sunwoo fired his tiger killer weapon. The blue energy bolt shot toward Hyun, but the war tiger was ready. He dodged with incredible speed, the bolt missing him by inches. More guards rushed into the room. Hyun fought with all his strength and skill, but there were too many. A shot grazed his shoulder, burning through fur and skin. The war tiger roared in pain but kept fighting. "We need to help him," Jun said. He grabbed a fallen guard's weapon and tossed it to his father. Tahoe nodded and joined the fight. Together, he and Hyun moved like a team that had trained for years. They protected each other as they fought against the mercenaries. In the middle of the battle, Sunwoo aimed his weapon directly at Minji and the children. "Enough," he shouted. "Surrender now or they die." Everyone froze. Hyun stood bleeding from several wounds, his yellow eyes fixed on Sunwoo. "You care about them, don't you?" Sunwoo said to the war tiger, surprise in his voice. "Fascinating. Your kind was never supposed to form emotional bonds." Hyun growled, his muscles tense and ready to spring. "The military lied about many things," Tahoe said. "War tigers were never just weapons. They're intelligent beings with the capacity to care, to choose their own path." Sunwoo laughed. "A touching story, but it changes nothing. Your pet monster is coming with me, along with all your research." "I have no research," Tahoe said. "Everything I learned about war tigers is in my head. And Hyun is not my pet. He's family." At that moment, a loud explosion shook the building. The lights flickered. From outside came the sound of ships landing. "Colony security has finally arrived," Tahoe said with relief. Sunwoo's face hardened. "Then we're out of time." He raised his weapon at Tahoe. If I can't have the tiger, I'll at least have my revenge. Hyun saw the danger and moved. The war tiger threw himself between Tahoe and the weapon as Sunwoo fired. The blast hit Hyun directly in the chest, burning through fur and flesh. The war tiger fell to the ground with a painful cry. "No!" Tahoe shouted. Before Sunwoo could fire again, colony security forces burst into the room. The commander was quickly overwhelmed and captured, along with his remaining men. Tahoe rushed to Hyun's side. The war tiger lay motionless, his breathing shallow. The blue stripes along his body flickered weakly. "Stay with me, old friend," Tahoe begged as he worked to stop the bleeding. "You can't die. Not now." Minji, a trained doctor, joined him. Together, they fought to save Hyun's life as security forces secured the area. Hours later, military officials arrived. A stern-faced general stood over the wounded war tiger, now stabilized but still in critical condition. "A living war tiger," the general said. "By all regulations, it should be destroyed." "His name is Hyun," Tahoe said firmly. "And he just saved my family. He deserves to live." The general looked at the gathered security officers. Everyone here saw what happened. They nodded. One officer stepped forward. "The tiger protected them, sir. It put itself between Dr. Kim and the weapon. I've never seen anything like it." The general was quiet for a long moment. Then he sighed. 10 years ago, we were told these creatures could never be anything but weapons, that they had no ability to choose, to form bonds." He looked at Hyun, at the Kim family gathered protectively around him. "It seems we were wrong." 3 weeks later, Tahoe sat on his back porch, enjoying the morning sun. Hyun lay beside him, still recovering but growing stronger each day. Around the war tiger's neck was a new collar with an official military tag. "Security asset." Tahoe read the tag with a smile. "I suppose that's better than biological weapon." The general had made an unprecedented decision. Instead of destroying Hyun, he had classified the war tiger as a special security asset under the Kim family's guardianship. The incident was sealed in classified records. As Hyun rested his massive head on Tahoe's lap, a thought occurred to him. If one war tiger had survived in change, perhaps others had too. Perhaps somewhere, other families had their own guardians, their own stories of bonds formed across the stars. 10 years ago, Tahoe had saved a dying war tiger. Now that choice had saved his family and changed their world forever.